Good evening. The meeting is now convened, and we are at 5:34. Tammy, please let the record show that all board members are present. If everyone able, please join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our next agenda item is the approval of the agenda. Our recommended action is that the board approve the agenda as presented. Do I have a motion? Board Member Provance. Do I have a second?
Second.
Board Member Huff. Questions, comments? Let's vote. Board Member Huff, well, yeah, it's up on the screen this time, isn't it? Thank you.
You're gonna have to, she's using my laptop, so you're gonna have to take a poll.
Okay. No?
Yes, I got it, we got it, I got it.
Okay. Well, one member is not able to vote online, so let's just do and we'll do this all evening then. That's probably simpler. We'll just take a roll call.
I think it's because I was late.
Well, there's somebody else on a different computer, yeah. Let's just start at the end.
Aye. Aye.
And chair votes aye, 7. All right, it's now time for public comments.
You know what, you can read it from your thing, because it's missing.
It is missing.
It's missing off the script.
Where is that? Thank you. The Board of Education welcomes comments about the issues being discussed. The board uses this time in our meeting to listen to the public, but will not comment or engage with the public during this meeting. The board allows for up to 10 speakers per public comment period. The board chair will call on individuals in the order in which they signed up. Substitutions are not permitted. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes and will be timed by the board secretary. Comments must be acceptable for a business and family-friendly environment. Inappropriate language, gestures, or personal attacks will not be tolerated. It is inappropriate to address the board about individual students or individual staff members by name in an open meeting. If you have concerns about individuals, these concerns should be addressed through the appropriate administrative supervisors, either in the schools or in the district office. If you have materials that you want to share, please place them in the tray on the podium and they will be distributed to board members following the meeting. We have 2 speakers this evening. Our first speaker is Sharon Benton.
I'm Sharon Benton, and my residential property borders Pershing on the east side. I'll admit right up front that the Pershing neighbors don't like the new school placement for a number of personal reasons. And we sure don't want along the east and a portion of the north side of the proposed new school location an alley created between the school and our fences, a no man's land, buffered or not. That doesn't sound very safe to me, but it should really be about what is best for the students. From the school board's website, all bond issues should be submitted only after careful study of the district's needs and after consultation with members of the public and the professionals, etc. Further research tells us generally voters cannot change their mind to build a new school if they approve a bond issue for renovation. The funds are tied to the specific purpose stated in the bond measure that was approved by the voters. A bond issue must have a clear specified purpose for the funds which voters must approve. We're disappointed a sufficient amount of study obviously did not occur prior to public vote, and for sure no one talked to us, their closest and only neighbors. But is that what is happening now? Are we looking at a short-term solution to a long-term issue? Shouldn't this be about only what is best and safest for the students and the neighborhood they reside in. In just one option for placement of the new school exhibit being the best stewards of $60 million of public money, it is our opinion that the currently proposed option is not in the best interest of the students or the community. Nothing was said about or costs given to construct the new school in its current exact location, and we respectfully request that this be addressed. After lengthy in-depth meetings with two extremely experienced contractors and an AIA fellow, we believe there would be little, if any, savings, including the busing expense, to construct the school in the proposed location as opposed to the current location. Most importantly, constructing the school in the proposed location grossly violates every safety and security rule and logistical consideration that goes along with the reasoning behind placing school access close to a street. Is that why we couldn't think of a single Springfield school that wasn't? From crime prevention through environmental design principles, shield high-risk areas, strategically position the building to shield playgrounds or other outdoor activities from the main road and public view. My goodness, this athletic field runs almost the entire length of the Ventura side of the property at the street. And that alley I mentioned, again addressing school safety, school location should ensure high visibility and minimal blind spots, and also students won't have to be bused for 2 years. Williams, Fremont, Delaware, York, Cherokee, Reed, Bingham, Bissett. If busing was so detrimental to the welfare of the students, why has it been and is going to be allowed so many times? We feel our students and our community deserve a second look at the placement of this new school project. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Next, Patrick Mueller.
Good evening. My name is Patrick Mueller, and I'm here to speak about my disappointment in the construction plans for Pershing Middle School. I live on Alameda Street, adjacent to the northeast corner of Pershing property. My complaint is not that the board shifted from the advertised proposition as plans and are doing a complete tear down and rebuild. I agree the students need a new school. My complaint is that you're rebuilding a neighborhood school with little consideration for the neighborhood. The Pershing property now contains a large green space that's shared a fence line with 15 homes since the 1950s. This is the logical place for the new track and field and extra parking. This part of the project could start first. This plan would alleviate many of the water runoff, noise, privacy, and other concerns the residents have. The southwest portion of the property is where the school is now located. It's obvious the original builders of Pershing had the neighborhood in mind when they provided a buffer and placed the school at the furthest point away from private homes. The board has already determined this school will be completely torn down. The current location is the logical place to rebuild the school. The infrastructure is already there. We asked our city council member to look into the matter. He informed us the city planners would have preferred the new school face either Ventura or Cedarbrook streets. We're also told the main reason the new two-story building will be relocated next to private homes is so students will not be displaced during the rebuild. Relocating students during construction is a common district practice. Has the board considered traffic, noise, and parking issues that might arise during the rebuild with teachers and students staying in place? Is this placing a track and field next to Ventura Street the best option? I urge you to take a beat and ask more than one rebuild plan for this $60 million project. Afterwards, please provide the public with reasons for the decision beyond not wanting to temporarily relocate students. While students who are very resilient could be inconvenienced for up to 2 years, the lower property values and the quality of life of homeowners adjacent to the school will be permanent. Long after the students have moved on from middle school, the traffic of buses, delivery trucks, and dumpsters will continue just on the other side of our backyard fence. Not considering the needs of the neighborhood or requesting community input is damaging to the reputation of the district. I'm a homeowner who pays property tax for the schools and who strongly supported Proposition S. I'm also married to someone who taught public school for 37 years. However, I can say my ability to support future endeavors of the district is at risk. Pershing students deserve a new track and school. I ask that you place the new track in the existing empty field and keep the location of the new Pershing building in the same location the school has resided for the last 70 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Items 4.01, Foundation for Springfield Public Schools update. Natalie Murdoch, Executive Director of the Foundation for Springfield Public Schools, will join us and provide an annual update on the foundation's initiatives.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm going to have her pull up that presentation. But I can read it from here if it doesn't get up there. Thank you for having me today. It's always great to see some Love SPS shirts in the audience. So just so you know, if I see you out at like Costco in a Love SPS shirt, you might get a hug. Because I have been tempted to hug some strangers wearing Love SPS shirts, but I try to refrain myself. It would be a little scary. I want to give you guys just a quick recap of our 24-25 year and then talk a little bit about what we've been up to and what we have to come as we've been very busy at the foundation office. So I'll remind you that we operate in 4 pillars. There we go. Next slide, Tammy. If it'll go to the next one. We raise money, we manage money, we distribute money, and we connect people. So we think about why we are raising money, and that is to support the needs of our students in our schools. So during the 24-25 school year, we received countless, hundreds really, of donation requests from district-wide grants, from our bus transportation fund, our crowdfunding platforms, and our back-to-school grant program. We had 852 scholarship applications from graduating seniors last year, and we supported countless schools and programs raising funds for additional needs throughout the district. And all in all, last year we raised $1.4 million to benefit those needs in our district. And we manage money, so that is for the future. That is what we're thinking about long term. We manage over $8 million in permanent and temporary funds that provide immediate and long-term needs for our students. So you can see a little bit of a breakdown there, about $7 million of permanent endowment money that we manage, which means that that is money that we will have forever and ever and ever, and we utilize the earnings from those endowments to pay out scholarships and grants to our schools and students. We have temporary funds and designated donations that we process, and of course those foundation programs that we oversee, our grant programming, our crowdfunding platform that provide a lot of long-term resources as well. So we're managing $8.4 million today. Next slide, please. And our favorite part of what we do is when we get to give that money away. So through our foundation programming, this money comes from both private donations and earnings from our investments. So our programs like our back-to-school grants, our impact grants for principals, and our district-wide grants, schools out there raising money for their individual school projects, and those permanent and temporary funds that we manage, we were able to award almost $1.5 million just last year. And that final pillar that we like to operate in is how we connect people to our schools. So we take a lot of pride in being able to provide a bridge for our community to learn and be immersed in our public school system. So our alumni connection that we started a few years ago, we have over 12,000 alumni records that we're keeping track of. We have yearly alumni tours at each of our high schools, and those continue to grow each year. We partner with Springfield Public Schools on the Ambassadors Program. We also host lunch and learn events quarterly that we invite the community to come and learn about things happening throughout the district. And so that is the ways that we are connecting people to our community. And this is just some fun pictures. So our ambassadors at Fly SPS, they got a chance to go out and see that. That's always one of their favorite visits. And then you'll see a couple of those middle pictures are grant projects that we funded. That top one is at Pipkin. They have a World Family Night that I feel like almost every parent in that school comes to, and it's an amazing night, and we have supported that for several years. And that picture underneath it is the Parkview Special Olympics. I went to that Special Olympics Day just planning to stay for a minute and say hi, and I spent my entire morning there because it was so amazing and so much fun. So we're really proud of that program. And then you can also see our Glendale High School alumni tour. So one of our favorite things about our alumni tours are that students give the tours, so they really get to showcase our student population, and they get to talk about all the things happening at their school. They might get to learn some interesting facts about what happened back in the day as well. So it's beneficial to all of that participate in that. And then our other a check presentation with one of our great community partners in Rapid Roberts, and our back to school grant delivery day, which is one of our favorite days of the year. And the final slide, I just want to let you know what has been happening in the first few months of school with the foundation. So we kicked off the year providing funding through 3 grant programs, $38,000 in district-wide grants, $49,000 through our brand new program for principals, and $205,000 for back-to-school grants, and we have around 2 coming in December. We have already provided transportation opportunities for 21 students through the Pay to Ride program, and our Coats for Kids Fund will provide over 500 new vouchers for brand new coats for students in need in just another month or so. We kicked off our 5th class of the SPS Ambassadors program, and it was really a wonderful evening. We started our Lunch and Learn series in September, highlighting SPS as the district of choice, and Dr. Lathan was kind enough to speak to that group. In February, we will hold our 2nd annual Love SPS campaign, and we cannot wait to help our community show their love for our public school system. Our second favorite thing to do is celebrate SPS in May when we hold our annual banquet, and we have an opportunity to recognize some of the outstanding donors and employees in Springfield Public Schools. And in the summer of 2026, we'll start our 3rd round of alumni tours through our Alumni Connection program. And we're also really excited. We're launching a new website this year, and we're kicking off a brand new strategic plan. So we are very busy at the foundation, and we are always so proud to be your biggest supporter and your greatest advocate out in the community, and we appreciate you all and your support of the foundation, and we're always here to help in any way that we can. I'm glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Natalie. Board members, questions, comments? Dr. Mahad-Makani?
I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, specifically the number of years that you have been, because I did not know this, and I want to make sure everybody knows this information that you just conveniently left off.
Yes,
I know it's hard to, like, you
It's-
want the spotlight to always be on the foundation, but I want you to tell us about you.
Yeah, I have been with the foundation for 17 years, almost 18 years actually, which is wild, but it's been it's a blessing for me. These are my people, so I consider the SPS folks my family, and we work every day. Our whole team is just really, really behind this organization, and we see the best of Springfield Public Schools. Not only do we work with amazing donors and community partners that they want to give, they want to support, but we also see the best of our teachers. Those teachers submitting grants and out pounding the pavement, raising money for their school, they are in it to win it, and we're here to support them in every way that we can. So we're just really pleased to do that, and I've had a lovely 17 years doing it.
Thank you. Other comments?
I was just a baby, by the way.
Vice President Kincaid?
Thank you for the partnership with the foundation. I know it continues to grow, and ultimately you want our teachers to succeed, you want our students to succeed, and I know that that's where your primary focus is. But I also appreciate, and now it's going to blank on me. Oh my goodness. The program that you just started, you didn't just start, but the new class just started this year. The ambassadors program. Because I know that this board in particular has always wanted more and more transparency for our public.
Yeah.
How can somebody apply to be part of the ambassadors program, and what does that entail?
Yeah, so you can apply on either the SPS website or the foundation website. Applications won't open until the next year for the next group, but anyone in the community can apply. We have a really robust and unique group of people with varying backgrounds, and really just people that want to learn more. They want to learn how they can be a champion for public education. And so we really encourage community members to do that. I mean, it's everything from a PTA parent to community business owners and former retirees in the district. So it's a really wide range of people completing that program. It's 5 visits, so they get 5 opportunities to really see the district from a different perspective and see places that they probably haven't seen before, just because they didn't have the opportunity. So it's very eye-opening. We've even had former foundation board members participate in the ambassador program. And I feel like they know a lot because they get to visit a lot of schools, but they have learned so much that they were like, had no idea. We got to visit General Services, which, you know, is just a big warehouse. But it was really interesting to that group of ambassadors because it's just one of those things about a public school system that you don't always think about, but it's a really important part of what is done every day in our school system. So it's a great experience. I encourage people to keep an eye on the district's website for when those will open up. Yeah, thank you.
Other questions, comments? Board Member Provance?
I don't think the room is really packed, but I think that we can be loud and rowdy enough to show you
Oh,
our appreciation and it'll go across.
Okay, thank you.
One more question. Would you be open to sharing the schedule? Because as I'm sitting here thinking, well, I want to go to that warehouse. And even though we've visited and we've all gone over the years to different schools and different programs, there's a few here and there that we've missed. It'd be a great opportunity for us to tag along and get to meet some of the ambassadors, but also it's kind of like kill two birds with one stone so that we don't inconvenience the program or the facility and we could just kind of tag along.
Yeah, Dr. Lathan and Stephen can get you the schedule. It might even be posted online. I'm not sure if it is, but yeah, they can definitely get that for you. Yeah. Yeah.
To participate, so we have our SPS Ambassadors program for our staff members.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you, Natalie. And the ambassador program for the staff members is kind of an offshoot of what the foundation started for the community,
Yes,
correct?
yes, we had a number of staff members that applied to participate, and so we wanted to make sure we had seats for the community through the foundation, so we started a version for our staff, and so we have about 30 staff members that will participate and have 2 to 4 sessions over the next several months and everything.
I'm going to take a mental leap and assume that you'll have certificated staff, support staff.
It's open to any staff member that applies, and it is a variety of staff members from different backgrounds.
Okay, very good, thank you. Moving on to item 5.01, contracts, agreements, change orders, and bids. The preliminary KCOB reports are available for review and will be brought forward for vote as part of the consent agenda during the October 28th, 2025 regular meeting. Are there any questions or comments from board members? Okay. Item 6.01, Board Policy Adoption Revision. There are several policies on the agenda for review. These policies will be brought forward for vote at the October 28th, 2025 regular meeting. We have time to review the policies and ask questions that we may have. As a reminder, these policies are brought forward by MSBA with recommended adjustments based on legislation and change in statute. At this time, board members, do you have any questions on a particular policy? Board Member Mahatma Khani, we'll start with you.
I wanted to engage the board in conversation revolving, I believe, 4 of the policies. So I don't know how you want to handle this moving forward.
And let's just take them one at a time.
Yeah,
for
I
the
think that would be
discussion
best.
about it. Thank you.
Let's do the reduction in professional staff workforce, GCPA.
Okay, give us just a minute to pull that one up, if we. Did everyone find it on their computer? Okay, Dr. Mahatma Khani?
So this board policy, it's basically a policy in layman's term, in terms of basically teacher layoffs, right? And it's according to the Teacher Tenure Act. What I couldn't figure out reading the new verbiage and the old verbiage was and it applies to both probationary and tenured teachers. I went and looked at the Teacher Tenure Act, and I read as many of the, because, at the bottom, they list all the statutes, and I couldn't find any 2025 updates, and I just couldn't understand what was different, like what's revised. And when you look at their explanation, it says, for clarity and to closely align it with the current law, but I couldn't figure out how the current law is different than before. And before I contacted MSBA, I wanted to see if anybody had any insight into that. I did look at one of the state statutes that they had, 168.124, cited at the bottom, but what was strange about that was, so they've updated it, but it's actually, it doesn't add anything. Like, for example, there's this, I learned something by looking up the state statute, which was if a school district has an unrestricted combined ending fund balance of more than 10% of the current expenditures, and it just kind of goes on and on and on about, and it's very detailed about what you can and can't do. And I thought, oh, I didn't know that. I just, for the life of me, can't figure out this one. Yeah, what am I missing?
We can follow up with MSBA for a specific question. It's a great question because it deals with, it's the RIF policy, so it's the reduction in force. And this,
Right.
in our CBA, the educator CBA's got the statute. If you look at Article 14, it lays out the statute. Here's the procedure you go through if you are going to get, if you're going to have to reduce tenured teachers, which we've never had to do because we have never had to deploy this policy. But it's something that we can ask MSBA, what's the difference between, if the law didn't change, why the update to the policy?
Yeah, and I thought
So.
it was an opportunity for me to learn because I learned about experience and seniority and all the different ways. And it's very well laid out, but I couldn't find anything even in 2024. So, well, I'm not opposed to updating it, but it's just like different words kind of re-saying the same thing. I don't quite get it. Okay.
I think, just in my reading of it, there is, the new language explicitly spells out that if there is a need to reduce staffing, that you provide notice, but considering all options, including not renewing contracts, it spells out some of those. Not renewing contracts, not filling vacant positions. So that to me was the one piece that kind of stuck out for, specifically, this was talking about professional staff.
Okay. But it's for all staff. Okay. Other comments
That
on-
policy is specifically for teachers. So it's reducing probationary and tenured teachers. And you only implement that policy if you're going to get to tenured teachers. If you're,
This is I meant for all certificated staff.
yeah, but it's really around teachers. That's what that act is around.
Okay.
Other comments on GCPA? Okay, Dr. Mahamakani?
The next one, oh my gosh, there's so many. Let's see, special ed, no. Okay, eligibility to enroll, JECA. Sorry. And my question, I'll wait till you guys look at that. Okay, so a point of clarification, and then I had a question. So the very first area that's red, and then underneath it, this is enrollment at the option of the district, subsection 2. It says, the following non-resident students may enroll without paying tuition when the resident school district is in Missouri and is not otherwise liable for tuition. So I just want to make sure I understand this. When we allow for this, we don't bill the resident district. We just collect the state adequacy, the WADA, am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's the same as it's been, right? That's not new.
Right, it's Difference is now that we no longer have to charge tuition.
Oh, we used to charge tuition
If-
before?
If you're coming from out of the district and someone wants to attend our district programs or district schools, we charge a tuition if they're not a district resident.
Okay, so like, let's say a teacher.
Not for our employees, but if it's not an employee. This one, it's based on the law that changed, the new law change, and it was around contractors.
Yeah, so that was my next question. So it's, you know, it has the first bullet point under the subsection to children of non-resident certificated employees. So previously, we didn't. But what's new is, and the children of other non-resident employees that regular work, so this is like, let's say, a bus driver. Did we previously not charge also, or is it just teachers that we allowed?
All staff.
All of it, it was all. And then the third one was, okay, so then this was the children of contractors or employees of contractors as defined by law. So can you give me, so that I understand this, what is an example of a contractor or employee of a contractor?
People
Like-
working on our new construction projects. So if you're a contractor that is working on building our new facilities, so those are
So
contractors.
like an engineer,
The construction
the
workers.
construction, like company or the actual construction workers?
Workers from my understanding.
Worker, employees of the contractor.
Correct.
Oh, and the owners and the employees, all of that.
Could contractors also be like, we contract audiology services?
Yes, if they're yes, the contractors, yes.
Wow. Okay, that was the change in the law. Thank you.
Dr. McConaughey, another policy?
Oh, sorry. What? Oh, yes. You guys feel free to jump in. JGF, discipline reporting and records. Wait, is it JFG? Oh, okay, on here it says JFG, but here it's JGF, actually. Yeah, JGF, because I printed it. I'll just let everybody bring that up. And I had a question on the first page, first paragraph, last paragraph. So on the very first page in the gray section, the update explanation, it says, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs down, second to last paragraph, last sentence says, this provision applies to only some, not all, of the offenses that the district must report to law enforcement, which has complicated the agreement. See JGF-AF1 for more information. Now, we don't have that. Do we have that, or am I missing that? It's not one of our policies, and I don't know what -AF means.
What number was it?
It's like in the gray section.
The fifth paragraph down.
Yeah.
Gray.
JGFAF1?
So I was just putting it out there, and then I had and the only question I really had is at the end of the policy. So that's just something that I think, if anybody knows where this AF1 is, in the next couple of weeks, send it our way. Okay, but if you scroll down to the very end in red, and this was very concerning to me, and I want to understand this better. It's been crossed out. Pursuant to the Department of Secondary and Elementary Education data reporting requirements, the district shall report rates and durations of and reasons for student suspensions of 10 days or longer and expulsions. So I assume these are the results of the review meetings, et cetera. So the way I'm interpreting this is that we were required to report this data. It was a requirement. But now it's not.
Well, I
So
think-
are we, sorry.
I was just going to say, I do think if you look up under that reporting to DESE, I don't think that that has been completely stricken.
Yeah.
I think it's been reworded for clarity. And
Okay.
so we do still have a legal obligation to report school safety incidents to DESI, but it was just rewritten earlier in that section.
Yeah, but those are just school safety incidents. There are reasons that students may be suspended for not student safety reasons. I mean, like, we have our scope and sequence for discipline, and at some point, when you're a repeat offender, that's the category you fall into.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what DESI's exact reporting requirements
Yeah,
on
and
that are,
previously,
but I read that as.
like, I saw, there's a difference now, and that difference. So in the past, we've been able to compare ourselves to North Kansas City. I don't know what channels we use, like, oh, we've had this many review meetings, this had that many. I don't know if we were picking up the phone and asking, or if we were going to DESI and looking at it. Was this previously published in DESI? This just opened up a whole bunch of things for me, like, whoa, wait. How was this changed? And maybe this is a question I need to ask. I was going to ask this of MSBA, but I just wanted to ask you guys first, because there's not a law change. There isn't the Senate Bill 68 doesn't say, don't do this. Senate Bill 68 says, you need to collect data on student safety issues, da-da-da. But I just found it interesting that they struck this. And I was going to reach out and ask them why, but I didn't know if Dr. Lathan was privy to any information. Okay. Do you see what I mean? Because this is a different kind of reporting.
But also to your question about the information, so some of the information is reported to DESI, but you're right, there are times we pick up the phone or we reach out via email to other school districts to get the comparison information. So sometimes things that are not required of reporting for us to be able to compare ourselves, we do ask those districts for information.
I guess my question's really not for MSB, it's for DESI. Was it previously a requirement? Is it still a
Report
requirement?
to DESI, but not to,
Well, no, reporting all are greater than 10-day suspension.
So we've been required to report discipline incidents that are 10 days or longer for a very long time.
We are
through
required?
MOSIS. Yes, and that's part of the MOSIS reporting cycle, so the Missouri Student Information System
So
reporting.
we are required.
Yeah, and we have done that annually. They've made a change this year where we're able to report it more frequently as well. But we've always been
under 10
required to do 10 days or more. Yeah.
Say that again,
incidents.
for things 10 days or more.
Yeah, for
Right.
suspensions, 10 days or more.
Right, why did they cross this out then in this policy?
That's something that we can follow up with MSBA
Okay.
on as to
So we
why,
are-
but it's not
okay.
new practice for us to report to DESI.
So
on
we
this.
did, we will, and we will continue to, and the question is then, why did they get rid of it in this policy? Maybe we don't need to, I don't know.
Yeah, I think there was a rewrite there, but we can follow up with.
Okay.
I think though, going back to Sarah's point, the first paragraph, under reporting DESI, it still says that all safety incidents, incredible school safety threats that occurred are required by law and will make other reports required by law. That is the same thing, it's just said it in a different way, that they struck out.
Would there be a reason outside of a safety threat that someone would be suspended?
I don't know.
Could you suspend somebody for?
Yeah, but school safety incidents and credible school safety threats, that's the law that changed. That's Senate Bill 68. This other requirement was just a DESI thing that I don't even know by law if they're required or not. I have not looked at that. But that's just reporting our greater than 10-day suspensions. And you can have greater than 10-day suspension for a variety of things. Huh?
You can have a 10-day suspension and not be for
Right.
safety. It could
Like-
be for oppositional defiance. It could
There
be
you go.
different things. So I think I understand what she's saying is, they said continue to report for safety, but what about the
Okay,
other
okay.
suspensions?
Now I
That's your
understand.
question.
Yes.
Okay.
But it sounds like Mr. Douglas just answered it. We will continue to report them. But now it's making me wonder, do we need to, since it's been struck out? So anyways, well, we'll keep moving. Last policy. And the last one is, who's up there? The student dress code. This one's a little trickier. So I read this a couple times. Before I dive into this, the very first sentence, it says, MSBA has updated this policy to align with updates to JFCA AP1 And I think AP is administrative procedures. Do we have AP1?
We have administrative procedures.
Could you share that with us? I want to see that before I,
What's the number?
well, this one is JFCA. But, okay, so that was my first question, great. Then the other thing was, so I read this a couple times, again, trying to figure out what the differences are. So there's two key differences between the new policy and the old policy. The new policy, especially at the bottom where it has goals, it adds a lot of clarity and it provides guidance to the executor, which is the superintendent, and I fully support that, and I like that it's a little bit more detailed and not quite as broad as the previous one. From a board policy perspective, I support that. But the second thing that I'm finding problematic is that, at least the way I'm reading this, and I need to call MSBA to make sure that I'm reading this correctly, is that it delegates the authority from the Board of Education to the superintendent and the superintendent's designee. And I look at this and, this is a little bit like, I've seen this movie before, right? This is a tone that's very much set by MSBA via MSIP 6. And I've now had a chance to look at it and read about it some more. And this is something that's faithfully observed by a lot of school districts. And I feel like the MSBA is just forever pushing us and nudging us in this direction. And it certainly has happened with technology and phones and discipline. And I'm going to come back to that when I talk about possible solutions to my gripe here. But so what I did is, because I felt uncomfortable with that, and I'll tell you why here in a little bit, I went down to the bottom. If you scroll down to the bottom, it's got all the state statutes, federal laws, like court cases that allow you to understand this update. Now, this update, remember, is not because of a state statute change. I went through every one of those, and I could not find anything that would make me feel legally comfortable with continuing this practice. What I did find is State Statute 171.011, and I can share this with you guys later. And it's like literally all of 5 sentence lines, and it's about the school board of each school district in the state may make all needful rules and regulations for the organization, grading, and government in the school district. And I consulted some, what I would call state statute experts. And in the end, I came to the conclusion that I'm not comfortable transferring anymore the duties that we were elected to do to essentially a non-elected contracted employee. So our superintendent executes the policies that are approved by the board, and that's why the superintendent is the executive, and we're the governing body. Now, we don't have to pass rules if we don't want. We have full discretion what we want to do and what we don't want to do. But I don't think that we should just hand it off. And we've kind of repeatedly done this to the point where it's become standard operating procedure. And I realize that just to question this and push back, it might be seen as a breach of duty. Or, as I'm looking at this today, it's almost the opposite. Some of you weren't on this board, but a couple years ago, MSBA came down here as part of our training, and I felt like had the temerity to tell us to stay in our own lane, which I thought was a little bizarre then. But I feel like Missouri School Board Association, somewhere along the way, they forgot that the key to having our boards, our governing boards, whatever you want to call it, a democratic republic, is absolutely elections. So I asked, and I got clarification on this, and I'm going to come to my point here. The elected body governs, and I feel that MSBA has never stood up to DESE for its member boards. We are a member board, and I don't feel like MSBA has adequately advocated for us on that front, and that's how somehow we are accused of being rubber stamping boards. They've kind of been partners in that. So I say this to come to the conclusion that I don't feel that we're empowered to transfer this authority. So down the road, And things are really rapidly changing, as you guys know, and this is a very hot topic. And I've learned a lot of this because I continually talk with people on both sides of the issues. And I wonder if down the road we get audited, or if we're in a lawsuit, what are we going to do? Are we just going to point over at MSBA and say, well, they made us do it, right? We're doing this because that's what MSBA, this is the policy they gave us. I don't know if it'll hold water, so I would like our board attorneys to take a look at this, because I personally, I don't feel comfortable supporting what I think is a potentially illegal policy. I've voted for these policies before, and I don't think I'm comfortable doing that moving forward. And before talking to MSBA, I wanted to get your input and see what you thought. And so that's kind of like the umbrella issue. But specifically on this policy, I thought maybe a way, because I really like the part about the goals, but I don't think there was anything wrong with the way it was before. I was wondering if you guys would have an appetite for leaving it, either just leaving it alone, or keeping the old policy and just adding the goals to it, while you give us an opportunity to sort of talk to MSBA and allow our attorneys to look at this issue that I'm bringing up, this concern that I'm bringing up.
May I just inquire for clarity? You're opposing this specific, the dress code policy, because it delegates authority to building level administrators to create I just am not
Always had
sure.
that. No.
Okay.
So what it does is, so if you read what was in red before, that's now struck out. And let me preface this. I am sure we've always done everything that's in here. I'm sure we've always promoted health and safety. We've protected students from drug and alcohol advertisement. We've always done all this, and we will continue to do all this. What I'm not comfortable with is conceptually, from a policy standpoint, what we're being asked and pushed to do over and over and over again. Before, it said, this is our expectation, and this is what we want. And then it just gets executed. The part I take issue with, which is the way I'm reading it, is we are literally spelling out that we are now going to hand this off from a policy position. We are going to hand off this responsibility to the superintendent or the designee. And I don't know if we're legally allowed to hand off something that is our governance. And I don't want to get into a legal issue. And you guys know that this stuff is all being looked at. There was a St. Louis school district audit where this is becoming an issue. Not this dress code.
Not a dress code.
Not a dress
I
code.
think I'm just
The
want
board is
clarity
being,
there.
the board there is being asked, why did you do X, Y, and Z? And the board has said, well, because that's what the superintendent wanted. And so it's creating a problem. That's right now in the state of being an audit. I don't know what's happening. It has just made me more cognizant of, wait a minute, and I don't think MSBA's done the best. And I just want to protect us moving forward.
I read it a little bit differently than you do, and I hear what you're saying, and if I read it in that way, I might agree, but I don't read it in that way. The policy spells out what it spelled out before with regards to protecting students, health and safety, all those things that you said we already do. The part that has been changed, and has changed in some of the other policies that you have mentioned, is to further these goals that are outlined in this particular policy that we have authority over, that we get to change the language on, or we can agree or disagree with regard to the language. In furthering these goals, building principals will establish student dress codes for all grade levels to meet the district legal responsive requirements, which is spelled out in policy. The superintendent or designee will establish dress code procedures, which procedures fall out of policy. The policy is set by us. The procedures is set by the administration.
Right. I'm back to, why are they giving this to us? There's nothing different. So if you're okay with that, why do we even have to have that?
Because these goals weren't there before.
Well, let's add the goals and keep the red
So the
line.
goals is what's being spelled out to clarify the policy that is now enacted, that is done at the building level by the superintendent through procedure.
Correct. But I'm reading it differently, so.
That's what I'm saying.
So maybe the best way to go about it is to keep the goals, but keep the redlined stuff above, the redlined 3 paragraphs above, because we have always done this new green. We have always tasked the superintendent with executing our policy, which are our goals, which is what we've listed here. Why do we have to further spell it out? Because I'm personally more comfortable with the previous policy with the addition of the goals. Are you guys okay with that?
I think your question is just like your question was before, why is MSBA
Right,
suggesting
I'm
this
just
change?
not understanding
And I
it.
think that's a different question than, are we delegating our authority?
Well, I'm trying to figure out
I don't think
why.
right, and I think that's a different question, because if you go back to some of these other policies, like before suspending a student, a principal or superintendent must tell the student what the misconduct was. I don't think that the board is gonna tell the student what the misconduct is anytime
But
that
we
a
tell
student-
them that they will have to do it.
Right, just like we tell them that they need to come up with an appropriate and legal dress code, and that's in the policy. But I think your question as to why is MSBA changing it is valid, and then maybe we can revisit. Does
Yes.
it need to be changed? But I think that's different than delegating our
I
the
want to make
authority that we-
sure that our attorney looks at this and that there's no verbiage in here that it doesn't do that.
Yeah,
That's not how I read
they
it
always
at
do.
all.
For expediency purposes, all good questions, all good comments. I would suggest that after hearing the discussion here, that Dr. Lathan and her team get back in touch with MSBA and ask, tell us exactly why this has changed, what you were trying to accomplish, what is this based on? I think that's one thing that would help. The other thing, Dr. Lathan, that I think Dr. Mahatmakhani may be referencing a little bit, correct me if I'm wrong, when MSBA sends us a policy to update based on legislation or whatever, what does the district do with that before such time as the board gets it?
2 things are the staff members normally where that particular policy kind of falls under their responsibility. They review it, and then we also send it to our attorneys for review to make sure it doesn't conflict with any existing board policies or what would be the ripple effect on the district if we were to make that change. Because like I said, these are suggestions. And then once the attorneys say there are no issues, or they say, you know what, we recommend that it really be worded this way, we then send it back to MSBA and say, our attorneys are advising us for it to be like this. And a prime example is when we changed language several years ago, MSBA might send it one way, we send it back and say, you know what, this is what our board prefers. And so that's the exchange between our attorneys and MSBA and our team.
Okay,
And so
I
we will
think what-
follow back up with
Yeah,
MSBA to ask them about
I
that. 'cause
definitely
like I said,
wanna
no one saw
I-
any issues with it.
I want to see AP1 for sure, but I think what bothers me, and I will be sure to reach out to MSBA myself, I find it very high-handed of them to repeatedly tell us what a school board can and cannot do. So the superintendent and building administrators need to develop the details because they are the ones most familiar with each unique school setting, safety expectation, et cetera, et cetera. So at the end of the day, it's still within our rights. If this board or any board decided we could, it is within our legal rights and our governance, we could get involved and set a dress code should we choose to. And if we choose not to, we can task our employee to do that for us. So I don't appreciate the tone that the MSBA takes, which is the tone they always take with us, which is stay in your lane. We get to pick our lane, and I just want to make sure that I'm tired of seeing policies like this. So yeah, let me know what they say. I will also be in touch with them.
Did you have thank you. Did
No,
you
I
have
think
any-
that was a
that
4.
it?
Yeah, I think that was 4, right?
I
Jacob?
have 4.
Yeah, that was 4.
that
Yeah,
was it.
thank you, guys. I
Yeah.
appreciate you listening, and I value your input.
Any other comments, questions about policy? Okay. Item 7.01, approval of transportation routes for the 2025-2026 school year. Each year, the Board of Education is asked to approve routes over which school buses travel to receive reimbursement. This is an item we vote on annually. Executive Director of Operations, Mr. Sean Dilday, will join us for this agenda item. Mr. Dilday. Okay, thank you, Mr. Dilday. Next, item 7.02, resolution for the sale of $30 million of 2023 bonds. Dr. Shaw will come to the podium to review this agenda item and introduce Brent Blevins. Dr. Shaw?
We are time where we need to issue our remaining $30 million of bonds for the 2023 ballot initiative. And so with us tonight is Dr. Brent Blevins with Piper Sandler, and he will kind of walk you through the process and give you the information you need this evening, and then we'll come back on the 28th with all of the updated current information that you can then actually vote on at that time. So I'm going to turn it over to Brent.
Thank you, Dr. Shaw. Good evening. Appreciate the opportunity to be in here. It's been a little while since I've been here. It's 2023 election, so.
That long?
Good to see everyone. Like Dr. Shaw mentioned, as you know, you passed a $220 million no tax rate increase bond issue in 2023. At that time, we issued $190 million par for the district. You're saying, why not the 220? Reason being is you have an issue called arbitrage. So the district has the ability, once you access those proceeds in your capital project fund for those building projects, you're allowed to invest those. The investments on those you get back that actually goes into your project fund for additional proceeds for different projects across the district. But you have really levels of how you have to spend those bonds. And so you have really the thing they look at is about a 3-year expenditure. As we were looking at your draw schedule with your construction management team and architects, it was determined that we assumed about 3 years is what it's going to take to expend those $190 million. By doing the 220, you'd probably an arbitrage, have to pay some money back. Reason being is you can't take taxes in bonds, invest them, and make more money than what your actual your borrowing cost is. The IRS does not like that. Does not like that. So we're to the point now that you've expended a majority of those $190 million. So you have $30 million of remaining authorization that you received in 2023. So working with your administrative team, looking at your draw schedules and the construction projects moving forward, we're ready to move forward with the additional $30 million. Part of that process is going through an S&P rating call, which is an underlying rating. That's a rating agency that takes a deep dive into your community, takes a deep dive into your school district. I will tell you, Dr. Shaw and Mrs. Stassel spent a vigorous hour on the phone getting grilled, having to produce many documents that go to the board, long-range planning. They really want to understand your processes, procedures, your administrative procedures in regard to your finances, your fund balances. They take a deep dive into the district as well. We received that rating back last week, and it was a AA with a stable outlook, which is outstanding. It's where the district's been. I can tell you that the rating agencies are starting to look at downgrading districts, but you maintained your AA with a stable outlook. What that means is investors see your rating. And so when they go out and buy your bonds, the stronger the rating, the higher the rating, the more secure your bonds are, which means lower interest rates, right? Higher security, higher price investors pay for your bonds, therefore lower yields for the school district. So congratulations on that. Some of the highlights that the S&P pointed out was very conservative management, strong economy, strong AV growth, stable enrollment, and positive financials. So those were some of the highlights that they pointed out for the Springfield School District. So I commend you on that work. What I'm here tonight is to talk about the $30 million. Obviously, right now we anticipate going to the market to price those bonds on your October 28th board meeting. That morning, there'll be a process in between that. We'll be out in the market showing investors those bonds. Your official statement will go out. We'll be pre-marketing those, trying to get those investors interested in Springfield bonds. We'll have no issue with that with the AA rating. So we anticipate pricing the morning of the 28th. I will be at your board meeting that evening to approve final pricing at that meeting. And then we plan on closing November 18th, where those bond proceeds will then be deposited in your construction fund for projects. At that time, you can take those proceeds, obviously invest them again, and hopefully get some additional proceeds that goes into your project fund for additional projects. We will be trying to hopefully access some premium bonds, similar to what we did on the $190 million, if you recall. What that means is investors will pay over par amount. We'll sell less bonds to get some additional proceeds in your project fund. As you know, said, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Like I mentioned, I'll be at your October 28th meeting. We'll be pricing that morning. Right now, with the markets staying where they're at, you're looking at a true interest cost right around a 3.77, which is obviously very good. We're looking at a bond yield of a 3.26, which means that bond yield takes into consideration the potential to currently refund those after a 10-year call, which the district saved millions of dollars over the last several years doing that. So very, very good interest rates, very strong interest rates that we anticipate getting. I have asked the question, rates are kind of talking about going down. Should we wait? Should we not wait? I get that question a lot. Right now is a great time to price bonds. I will also tell you, we had a nationwide call today just talking about market conditions. There's like a 90% chance that the Feds drop the interest rates 25 basis points, 0.25% here at the October meeting. I will tell you, investors know that, therefore it's already built in the rates. Does that make sense? So we're not going to, if they do cut that, the MMD, the municipal market data, will not be cut necessarily. You will get lower rates. That's already built in. But what could happen if those rates are not dropped, rates could go back up because that is already built into the market. So I do get that question a lot about timing. Right now, we're in a really good position. The district can be able to afford these bonds with your debt service levy. You're in a position, your long-range plan, to do significant amount of no tax rate increase bond issues if the board so chooses about every 5 years. That's kind of how we structured that. As you know, you've got millions of square footage under roof, hundreds of acres of parking lots, asphalts, playgrounds, and athletic surfaces that you're going to have to take care of that just can't happen at a Fund 4 project. So the district's in very good shape. It's had nice AV growth. We anticipate a very good pricing on the 28th. So again, I'll answer any questions that you have at this time.
Board members, questions, comments? Dr. Mahatmakani?
I have a question, and then I actually also have a question for our staff. But my question for you is, when is the meeting? When is the Federal Reserve meeting in October?
Yeah, I didn't even ask you that. I want to say it's the 20, maybe before.
That's what I mean.
It's like 22nd.
So should, and I hear the same things, that yes, they're going to cut it by 25 points, but if they don't, it's possible that these numbers by the 28th could be higher, since that's the day you're bringing us the numbers?
It could be.
Okay.
I wish I had a crystal ball.
That's okay, I'll be watching MSNBC. I'm going to go look it up and see what day that, yeah.
Honestly, there's times that things happen in the markets that we really have no idea. And I will tell you, the MMD market doesn't necessarily line up perfectly with the Feds, if that makes sense. So if the Feds cut, sometimes the muni market is impacted. Sometimes it trails weeks, sometimes months behind. Sometimes it's not impacted at all. So just because the Feds cut rates, sometimes we don't see it in the municipal markets. It just depends on the appetite for investors for the muni market, for muni bonds at that particular time. So to say if the Fed rate's going to impact it, honestly, it won't impact it probably a lot either way, simply because they're talking a minimal amount. The MMD typically follows, trails behind that, usually weeks behind that, if that makes
Okay.
sense. You're going to be close enough within that Fed meeting that it's probably not going to impact a whole lot of
Okay.
what we see right now.
Thank you. My other question was, and I don't know if it's Kara or Travis, so it just occurred to me, we've had all this AV growth, and if I remember right, we rolled back our levy a little bit a couple years ago, but this year we really rolled back our levy. It was very noticeable. But we didn't change our debt service levy, which means, if I'm thinking about this right, we're collecting more money. So are we using that money to pay down our debt? What's happening to that money? Sorry, I should have asked this beforehand, shouldn't I have? You can answer me later if you want.
We roll back our debt service levy every single year.
We have rolled it back?
Every single year, yes. So the calculation that we actually get off the state audit score is much higher than our 73 cents. So we roll
Oh.
that back to 73 cents because that's really transparent in what's being communicated to the voters when we ask.
So when you, okay, so the percentage is being back, but the amount is still 0.73 regardless.
Right. So we are collecting more, if you will, because the assessments have gone up.
Right.
But we are not levying more on those assessments in debt service.
Hold on. But if we're keeping it at 0.73, and the valuations have gone up, we are collecting more money. So we haven't rolled back the levy there. That is the levy.
The levy is 73 cents.
Perfect.
We are collecting more because the assessments have gone up, not because of something we've calculated higher or lower.
I get it, but we did not roll back our debt service levy. You just said we did. We did not.
The state auditor's form allows us to go higher than 73 cents, and we could,
But we didn't.
but we didn't.
Right, but by keeping it, I know, you keep saying roll back, but we're not rolling it back. We're keeping it at 73 cents.
Asked for a rollback, and we put in a calculated amount to roll it back to 73 cents.
Okay.
That is the right verbiage to use when we talk about.
So we're collecting 73 cents per dollar, but that's actually more than we did last year because the AVs have gone up. So what's happening to that money? Are we using that to pay off the debt sooner?
Everything that we collect in our debt service fund is used to pay off the debt that we have.
So it's getting paid off a little bit faster than it would otherwise be? Or is that baked into the, is that amount already baked in? Because the assessed valuations went way more than the projected AV. I'm trying to figure that out.
Is it okay if I answer?
Sure, thank you. I didn't know you would know the answer.
So what we do, this is called a cash flow analysis, and it's lots of numbers, and I'd be happy to share that with you. So when we go out and look at your debt, this is a 20-year bond. And so we have to make estimates based upon your AV growth each year, right? And just like Kara said, you actually have a ceiling higher than the 73 cents in your Form C calculation, and you take a voluntary rollback to keep it at 73 cents. But with additional AV, obviously that's driving more revenue into your debt service fund. So what we do is when we're structuring your debt, we have to keep your debt service fund balance at a minimum 2 years of payments. So we can't build balances in your debt service fund, if that makes sense, over 2 years of payments. That would then require your Form C calculation to roll back your debt service levy, whether you wanted to or not. And so the constituents have obviously passed the amount of debt service levy we've been running for years. And so our job is to make sure that when we structure your debt, for instance, you can go back as early, obviously, this will be a discussion through the Long Range Facility Plan, as early as 2028 for a $220 million no tax increase bond issue. So the next no tax increase bond issue you have, depending on that fund balance, between now and then, if your AV continues to grow and your fund balance gets too high, we will do what you call a defeasance or a prepay. So we will come back in and prepay some principal that will then save you interest costs and still keep your debt service levy where it's at until we get to your next no tax increase bond issue. And at that time, we will structure it potentially with more principal on the front end and less rack structure where the interest is on the front, principal is on the end, so that then you can pay obviously less interest rates moving forward. So it is a juggling act because in my prior life, when I was a retired superintendent, we would have to constantly, I lived through the Great Recession when we were getting negative 1% AV growth, right? Right now, and Springfield saw that too from about 2008, 2012. Little to no AV growth. And we have built in fact, in our projections right now, we currently have built in 2.5% annual AV growth. So there has to be a cushion there. When you get a 6%, you're going to get a little increase in that balance. When you get a 1% or 1.5%, it's nice to have that balance there as well.
When you say balance, what do you mean by the balance?
Fund balance in your debt service.
In our debt service,
Yeah.
okay, the money that we're amassing,
In there.
got it.
So for two reasons. One in particular, to ensure that if you don't get the AV growth, you're not having to raise your debt service.
So every month we cut a standard check, like your home mortgage, but twice a year. But the balance will grow if we're collecting more, and we keep that cushion for the rainy day that we don't collect as much. But when it comes every 5 years, I guess you do that. My worry is down the road when you go back, I mean, this fund balance is going to keep growing. What happens to that? Can we make an extra payment? But then if you make the extra payment, you're going to actually pay it off sooner. So then when you go to move the next bond, it's a problem. Because you can't say it's a no increase because it'll drop off and then it will be an increase.
That's right. So we don't actually make it a shorter payment. We just take a principal payment in a certain maturity when we do a prepay or defeasance if we get our fund balances too high, and we take one maturity. So when you issue bonds, they're not like spread out perfectly over 20 years, right? We've got different maturities, we've got different payment
Okay, I got it. So you make more of a payment, but then you scale it back.
That's right. So
Okay.
So if it's a 20-year bond, let's say we do a prepay that's a 15-year bond before maturity. We keep it 15 years. We just take a portion of the principal and make a prepay directly to that. So now you're not paying the interest on that principal. Does that make sense? So when you make that payment that particular year, so that particular year, let's say FY '26, your fund balance and your debt service dropped because you made a prepay. So our job is to make sure that we keep your fund balance in the sweet spot, that you have a cushion in case you don't get AV growth, and that you can continue running no tax rate increase bond issues about every 5 years.
Okay. That, you answered my question, and I'm going to have to go back and listen to your answer again, probably twice.
Sure.
Thank you very much, because, I think I got 90% of what you said.
Good.
Thank you.
Happy to add an additional 10.
No, it's great. Thank you.
Other questions, comments from the board? Susan, are you nodding yes, no?
I'm nodding.
Okay. Dr. Blevins, I want to ask you to go over, when we were given that AA rating, which is good, is great, you cited several things, and I didn't get them written down, that they were telling us that the district does very well. And I'd like for us to hear that again, and so that our public is well aware.
Yeah, so some of the highlights they mentioned were conservative management, strong economy, because you do realize S&P doesn't just look at the district, they look at the overall community, right? They look at average median income, household incomes, AV growth, all those things. Strong AV growth, stable enrollment, positive financials, and a manageable debt burden were some of the highlights that they mentioned in the rating.
The last two, after stable enrollment,
They were positive financials, stable enrollment, and manageable debt burden.
thank you. And a thank you to the team that keeps that going, that made that all possible. That's excellent.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Dr. Shaw, you're on again. Item 7.03, remnant property by Harrison Stadium.
Good evening again. As you're very well aware, through the remnant property, which is in the northeast corner, northeast of Harrison Stadium. Okay, northeast of Harrison Stadium, and so, which happens to be owned by the county. We own properties all around this very small fragment, and so Greene County is seeking to enter into the transfer of real estate fragment held by the county after the trustee for that real estate placed the property in the name of the county. Greene County has held this property for a number of years and seeks to remove it from the list of parcels not being utilized. The County Commission approves Greene County to deed the property over to the school district of Springfield R12 for a fee of $10. They're not able to just simply give it to us. There has to be a transaction, and so this is a very, very small piece of property, again, that's surrounded by school property, and they are willing to deed that over to us. And so this would take action from the board. This is first read this evening, and you would vote on at the October 28th meeting. Any questions that I can answer for you? Again, this is information I know you've all been made aware of through our small group meetings over the last few weeks.
Board members, questions, comments?
I'm trying to remember just how little it was.
I tried to get that answer on exact acreage and wasn't, but my understanding is it's not much more than 8 to 10 feet wide by 50 to 60 feet long. It's very small.
So it's like a tiny strip of a
Yeah.
parking lot.
It is.
But I was just telling Daniel, you can't get anything for $10 these days. It's quite the feat.
Anyone else? Thank you, Dr. Shaw. This item will be brought forward for vote during the October 28th, 2025 regular meeting. Next, item 8.01, change orders and agreements. Mr. Dilday will present information on the 2023 change orders and agreements. Mr. Dilday.
Good evening again. Before you, in your board packet, is the change order agreements for this month. I will bring to your attention some of the items is professional services at multiple locations. As you see, we're moving forward with the Bingham project, the Pershing project, and then all district safety and security upgrades. That's for the Genetec system that will replace the scanners that we have at the doors. Also, I want to bring to your attention at Pipkin, there's a change order for $80,000. That change order is based on review and city comments. We had some changes to the construction project. There was some upsizing of steel in a couple of different locations in the building. We also had some electrical changes throughout the building, relocating some electrical panels and some shower diverters in the shower areas. And we also added 2 ice machines and utilities to accommodate those 2 items was not included in the project. Also at Reed Middle School, we had some solid surface material added in the window seals in multiple locations. We also had the vestibule stone. If you remember when we toured the large stonework that we had from the old building, we had some structural increase there to support that heavy stone. So that covers the Reed project. Is there any questions I can answer for you?
I have a question. The Pipkin change orders, was this within our contingency or this above, beyond, this within the contingency? Were we planning on? Uh-huh.
It is above. It's actual change order.
Question on the same line item, the 80,000. This is why we always have a little nest egg. But just so I understand, these changes occurred because the city wanted some changes. They wanted a different grade of steel, a portion of it?
A portion of it was because of city code requirements, so they changed some of the items that we originally had in design. They come back through review
Because they
and
come and
required us
they,
to make changes.
because they do inspections, and what
Yes.
was the other portion? What were, like, how can we avoid these sorts of add-ons?
With the city.
No, not with the city.
oh.
You said a portion of it was because of the city.
Oh, yes.
Making demands, but what are some of the other reasons?
There was some structural steel upsizing through design. It got to the steel package, and they had to upsize the
Oh,
structural
they
steel.
realized, oh, we need this, we thought we needed that, but we need this.
Yes,
And who makes that decision? The construction crew or the design?
the design teams
engineers?
would make that decision.
Is this common for this to be happening?
It is, yes. A project this size, you'll always have change orders, and there's details in drawings when they originally come out that change, or they identify an area that needs to be improved.
And then the 20,000 on Reed, that was because of the stone that we wanted to preserve. So that's like a weight issue, so that's, okay. I do want to point out that, I don't know who these people are, but I really like them. Hold on, let me go back. Okay, I do know who they are. H Design Group. You don't always see that. I really like,
Yeah, so on H Design, we're getting
Yeah, I
credit
mean, the
back on 2
integrity
different
of-
projects. We're
you know,
closing
it-
those projects out.
because
so
it
there's-
says final fee, right? So the projects come to an end. And I just feel like everybody thinks, you know, we're the big boys in town, we have all this money. They could have just walked away with it, but I really like that they came back and said on both projects, like somehow this was extra. Like, that doesn't happen.
The exact same amount, so it must have been the exact same thing with both schools.
Yeah.
It's kind of,
Yeah, so our team tracks the dollars very closely, and then also H Design tracks it, and at the end of the project, they give us $2,800 credit on each one of the projects.
because they were both storm shelters, so they were very cookie cutter, not cookie cutter, but, you know, a lot simpler than building a school that has all these add-ons.
Yes, ma'am.
So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Just commenting on what you just said, that you have a team that monitors this very closely, as well as what the contractors are doing,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
It smells like food suddenly. Isn't it
The recommended action item is that the board approves the expenditures as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Dr. Mahad-Makani, a second?
I'll second.
Vice President Kincaid. I assume we've had our discussion, so let's take a vote, and we're still doing it verbally, correct? Oh, you can? Well, I haven't had it called up. Yeah, it's coming up now. Thank you. Let's see what we can do.
Came up, but it doesn't, oh, there it is.
See? How come I can only ever see two?
Maybe I was last.
It's done.
I am not sure on that. Just a point of clarification, it was showing on my screen 2 out of 7 had voted, and then
Mine
it
said
closed
7
it
out of
off.
7.
Mine said 7, but it doesn't show how people vote.
Mine did. It's weird.
Well, I only had two as well. I never see all 7, but
Okay.
it's okay.
I saw
for
7,
another
but it
time.
doesn't
Assuming there
show
was
what the
the-
vote is.
there were
So
7
how does she-
affirmative.
oh.
That's been my question.
Yeah, okay,
I like
thank
blue
you.
box better.
Thank you. Motion passes with 7 votes.
I mean, I assume
All right,
she
it's time
must-
for the superintendent's update. Dr. Lathan, do you
Thank
have
you.
anything for us tonight?
Yes, good evening, board members. Last week, we kicked off our district-wide charitable giving campaign. We have a goal to raise $50,000 to support the foundation of Springfield Public Schools and United Way Ozarks region. Between now and November 7th, all of our sites across the district will be participating in creative fundraising ideas so we can meet our goal of raising $50,000 for our Pay It Forward campaign. On Thursday, we will celebrate 3 outstanding SPS graduates during our Hall of Fame event. Parkview graduate, former Mayor Ken McClure, and Glendale graduates, Mr. Warren Robinette and Mrs. Nancy Allen. This is always an inspiring event, and I'm getting you all prepared now. I will be fangirling Nancy Allen. So I'm just telling you up front, I'm the first to get a picture with her with my autographed copy of a book I already have by her. So everyone get behind me for that, okay? As I stated earlier, Saturday, we will kick off our SPS Ambassadors Program for the school year. Special thanks to the foundation for supporting this event and partnering with us. Also, this month is National Fire Prevention Safety Month, and our community partner of the year, Springfield Fire Department, has made safety presentations throughout our district. Also, Kiwanis Club of the Ozarks and Shoes from the Heart recently partnered to provide shoes to every student at Fremont Elementary School. We just want to thank them for supporting our students. And finally, I'd like to extend an invitation for everyone to attend SPS University on November 11th at Kickapoo High School. Our keynote speaker will be Russ Tuttle. He will provide 10 practical tips for keeping children safe online. There will also be a mental health panel discussion on child behavior, mental health, and wellness. Come early. It starts at 5 o'clock with our dinner and resource fair, and the event kicks off at 6 o'clock. Once again, this is open to district staff, parents, and the community. Please come out and join us. Board members, that concludes my comments. Yes, we're at Kickapoo High School.
Thank you. Other comments from the board?
Did you say it starts at 5 and the presentation is at 6?
Yes, dinner and the resource fair starts at 5, and the actual program begins at 6 o'clock.
Other comments? Board Member Huff?
I'll be quick, but I just wanted to give kudos to the team on the learning toolkit that's been going out to families. Our board got a copy of that, and of course I see it as a parent, but just incredible transparency on what our kids are learning, what their expectations are, and how we can support them at home. And so I know it takes a lot of coordination with communications and our curriculum team and educators, but that's a great resource for our families. And I would encourage anyone who hasn't taken a look as either a parent or just a community member who's interested in what our kids are doing in school. It's great to read about the learning targets and then have resources linked below that we can use to help support our students. And then I was also going to say several of us were able to attend a forum a couple weeks ago in Nixa, put on by the Greater Ozarks Cooperating School District. And I would just say over and over again, Springfield was held up as an example of a school district that had a lot of choices for students. And so, along with our theme this year, I think people outside of Springfield are recognizing the abundance of choice and how that can be a model for our state moving forward. So just kudos to the team there too. It was good to hear other schools outside of Springfield talking about those programs that we've charted.
Thank you, Sarah. Anyone else? Board Member Smart?
I just want to say I'm glad to be back for the meeting this month. I missed last month, so I'm glad to be back and hearing all the exciting things that are going on in the school district. And I just wanted to reiterate, too, how thankful we are for the Foundation for Springfield Public Schools and for Natalie and the work that she and her team do to raise money and distribute the money. And they have been in existence since 1990, so for the last 35 years, they have been supporting our district in creative ways, always thinking of something else to do, whether it's Coat for Kids or the Bus Transportation Fund or SPS Ambassadors. So just very, very thankful for them. And they all do it with a great attitude, and they really do love our district. So, thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Any other comments? Dr. Mahamakani?
I have comments on a couple of issues, and I won't be quick, sorry. I might have to go to round two because I want to make sure I get all my words in. One has to do with the MSBA meeting that we're all going to be attending, and there's 3 of us that are going to be delegates. It's me, Dr. Thomas Tate. Is it you? Because we had some
I didn't think it was, but
It is you. Okay. All right. I don't think you've been a delegate before.
I have.
You have? Okay. Well, so I don't know if, I think only the delegates have seen the delegate handbook, and I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it. It is for every, okay. So, there's just a handful of, okay. So the Missouri School Board Association is capable of carrying a big stick on our behalf if they want. And so they have a set of positions that they advocate for and they they lobby for. And we give input, and twice a year the delegates meet. But principally the meeting that we have in the fall is the one where more people attend and more things move forward. Wouldn't you agree on that compared to the summer meeting? I have found that. And so the recommendations are made by the advocacy committee, and then to some extent the executive committee also puts their finger on the scale and they oppose or they support certain positions. And first off, I'd like us as a board to get a little bit more involved because I think there's only a handful. I think I read 3 districts moved advocacy positions forward. And then I saw something that I don't usually see, which was several of them, the advocacy committee was in opposition to. And all I could surmise out of that was because they were redundant statements. Have you looked at these?
Not
So I want to suggest that maybe next year we could put the advocacy positions as an agenda item, so we have an opportunity to say, okay, well, how do you guys feel about this? Because usually as delegates, we go in there and we just vote the way we want. But it would be nice to have everybody take a look at it and kind of do a yay, nay,
Too late for that. They can read them and do it before Friday.
Yeah, could you guys send input, because it's actually unusual, because the advocacy committee is in opposition to several of them.
That's not unlike, that's happened before.
Yeah, it's happened, but these particular ones, I didn't think they would be. And so I'm trying to figure out why they're opposed to them, and I think it's because they're just redundant. I can't think of anything else. So I invite all input. Okay, I don't have a lot of time left, so I'm going to go to the next thing I wanted to talk about. So, and I brought this little flyer with me, and I want to get through all of it. I had the opportunity to go to the ribbon cutting for the Elevate Center, which is the old Robertson building, formerly our elementary school that closed last year in 2024. It's, I think, one of our oldest, if not the oldest running, right? Pretty old, right? So, and I know, and I went and I didn't know what I expected, but I was pleasantly surprised. And I just want to just tell you guys a little bit about it. And I know that it's been in the news, you know what, I'm just going to go in order. So you go on a tour, and the first thing is there's this volunteer wall, and they have had more than 900 volunteers and over 5,000 volunteer hours, new roof, repairs, hundreds of gallons of paint. I mean, the trees, they've done everything. But the first room you see is the Convoy of Hope room, which is their distribution room. And so they're a partner, and it allows them to receive and distribute their supplies to all the organizations so they can keep serving people across the area. Then the next room you go to was the kitchen. And some things were removed, but a lot of it was still there. So it's going to be, it will host the Living Adventure School of Hospitality, which gives students real-world experiences in the hospitality world. And I'm going to say a little bit more about Living Adventures. So just like the Convoy of Hope, it's a partnership nonprofit. So there's multiple nonprofits that are now housed in there, providing resources to people, to children, and all the way, you know, all ages, all sorts of different supports. Then the next stop was the old cafegimatorium. So now it's going to be an event hall that's for training, arts, community gatherings. It was just really neat to see that the fresh look they had. Then you go down a little bit ways and turn right, and they have a studio. It's like a legit media room to train youth in recording, like a recording studio. And there's going to be like 2 podcast series that are going to be launching. I know, but hold on, I'm getting there. And then there's the library is now the Makerspace, which is about young entrepreneurs. And I met several students that are entrepreneurs, like teenagers that have businesses. Like I bought something from one of them. And then the offices, and this has been in the news, you actually see the plans for the apartment buildings that they're going to be building. And then lastly, what was the surprise was that Dayspring Christian School, which is a fully accredited K-12 school, is going to be there. So there's going to be children in those halls, which was really neat to see. And they maintained the mural that the students and staff of Robertson had put up there. And, you know, I serve on NSBA, and I know that this was a very difficult decision for us when we closed the school. But when Elevate Lives came to us, and they made a commitment to this vision that they had, and it was really nice to see that they have fulfilled this commitment that they laid out for us. And the last thing I want to tell you is they were very open when I said if staff or, you know, past staff, students, families, board members, if they want to come back, because, you know, I went during their official ribbon cutting, and the city, like, made a commemoration, so there's like a day that's named after them. Anyways, they said that their doors are always open. So, and I'm saying all this because I know there's a lot of people in the community that want to know what happened. So if you're a teacher or a family, they welcome you. Go and check it out. That's all.
Thank you. Board Member Provance.
I'm going to run over too. It's going to be okay. First of all, I'd like to, you know, acknowledge the Kiwanis Club, because I know every kid at Fremont is running faster, jumping higher. Dr. Lathan, your commercial for the United Way, great commercial, and thank you for serving on a community project like that. United Way makes a difference, yes. And make a donation. Also, on the Hall of Fame, I'm just going to tell you that Warren Robinette was the heartthrob at Glendale. So you might be buttoning up, but I might have to go see Warren again. Yeah, just visiting, just visiting. I wanted to spend some time, Claudette and Joe and the Channel 3 and 10, what a great job of covering the Central Homecoming activities at the Harrison Stadium. It was an incredible time. Okay, Kilties performed, spot on. The band was there, their flags were there, their drum line, the cheerleaders, the administration. They had the court set up so great that they had some chairs, and then they had the, special guests come and sit around, playing under the lights. It was such a memorable moment. Now, first volleyball on the football stadium for Springfield. That was great. Got to be the first. The girls' sport was honored at homecoming, and that was fantastic. Whoever announced for homecoming, they were spot on. It was such a special moment. And, they had freshman volleyball, they had JV volleyball, they darken the lights, they're all rolling. The varsity comes running out through all the other players. They tear through the paper banner the way the football team does. They all formed a circle. There was someone carrying the flag. And I know it was kind of corny, but I just really thought it was cool. The girl that carried the flag, she went and properly laid the flag down. But all the other girls were getting in a huddle, shaking in, and she comes in at the end, and she just starts to be the outside of the circle. And the girls went, get in. I mean, I just really thought that in the excitement, they made sure that every girl. It was great for Parkview. That was a lifelong memory. No one's going to remember the score in 10 years, but they're going to remember the first volleyball match that was out at Harrison Stadium. The second thing that I would like to acknowledge, sometimes I hear just maybe a negative comment, maybe just more of a disappointment that Central could not maintain their football field, or their football team. And I'd like to try to say a few words on that, because that is far from what should be done and the reason. This is fall boys sports season. They have cross country. They have a full cross country team, a very successful cross country team. They have a very successful boys swim team. They have soccer. Sheila, do they also have boys golf at this time or not? Can't remember. Might be a spring sport. But, swimming and cross country, it has both an individual sport and a team sport value. But when you get to soccer and football, that's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. I watched the first football game when they played the Hillcrest JV, competitive game. But, toward the end of the fourth quarter, there was, a timeout or a dead ball situation at every play, because they had someone in having leg cramps, and they had to, take a player off and get the next one on that had been sitting out. And, brave young men playing a tough sport without the numbers. You have to acknowledge the safety that the coaching staff used. I saw some of the smaller players on the field that I know did not get playing time, and I really felt that that was the right decision, because let me just tell you, my dear sweet brother, 92-pound weight class his freshman year in high school. He didn't have to lose weight. I know kids are bigger nowadays, but you know what? There's still the difference in height and weight and force. And now I'm going to be on to the mamas. I love football. I love watching it. I love college football, pro football. You see it on TV Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Thursday. And every game starts with a pregame that talks about the injuries, and then everyone has the play that, looks like it hurts, and, they replay it 3 times. If you're the mother of a high school student that is not going to make a living at football, that is maybe not the tallest, strongest, fastest, and you make a decision that he should be involved in all the other school activities that the schools offer. Back in the day when Glendale had 99 players on the football team, because you couldn't have 100, we didn't have the number of activities. I mean, congratulations to Central students who are involved in so many activities. No bad feelings about that. One last thing. Judy, what's the award on Friday? What's the award? What's the name? Most Influential Women. Allison Roffers, head of our school counselors, and Judy, you were, and I've always called you my rock star, and I don't mean to be corny, but I am. Judy, I've got your own rock star. Congratulations, and have a wonderful event on Friday.
And you can go over your time limit anytime you want. Coach Provan.
Mary's gonna bring your rock next time.
Thank you, thank you. Other comments? Well, I'm going to do my best to stay within 5 minutes, but I'll make no guarantee. First of all, I want to acknowledge the fact that Warren Robinette and Nancy Allen are both Glendale grads. Not that that means anything in and of itself, but their high school English teacher, our high school English teacher, is coming on Friday to the luncheon, and Warren has told me he even has a story to tell about her. So Miss Carmen Piles, I still can't call her Carmen. She's asked me to. I can't do it. She's Miss Piles, but she plans to be there that night. I'm not going to say how old she is, doesn't matter, but she was our high school English teacher and very beloved. And she's still around and supporting students. Recently, several board members, and Sarah referenced it, had a chance to attend, as well as district staff and area staff, as well as some district employees, which I thought was great. We saw the SNEA was represented, MSTA was represented. It was great at the GOCSD, Greater Ozarks Cooperating School District, meeting down in Nixa. The topic that night, which was of particular interest to me, was about the future of public education in the state of Missouri. And as I reflect on that meeting and consider what I read now in the paper or hear on the news, I want to encourage, and I think we've all talked about this before, it's not just coming from me, but I want to encourage all board members and the public to pay close attention to the details that may be unfolding within the next few months. There is currently a state task force reviewing our foundation formula, and it hasn't been reviewed in a long time, so I'm sure it does need a close examination of, is it meeting the current needs? And the U.S. Department of Education is being reviewed very carefully right now at the national level. So while some of these initiatives, whether it's reviewing the Department of Ed or looking at the foundation formula, why some of those may be overdue, now is not the time. It is not the time for supporters of public education to be complacent or to be uninformed. As Linda Darling Hammond once said, and she's an educator very well known, the future of education isn't about buildings or budgets. It's about belonging, access, and opportunity. And that is what public education offers. It's evolving, and our school district needs to evolve as well. Our students and our families deserve the very best from our educational community, and that's what SPS is dedicated to do. And change is inevitable, and we see it on the horizon, certainly. But the progress that we're making here in Springfield Public Schools is intentional. It's very intentional. It's very strategic, and that is, in my opinion, the work of public education. And that's why I choose SPS. So there you go. All right. On that, now, Dr. Mahamakani, did you have anything else to add? Did you want round two? I'm not even asking. I'm teasing. Okay. Anything else? All right. Let me get back to the script. The recommended action is that the board adjourn the meeting. Do I have a motion? Board Member Provance, a second. Dr. Thomas Tate. Let's vote. I assume it'll come up here. Well, my vote is just showing 6 of the 7. Aye. And chair votes aye. So we are adjourning at 7:20 PM. Well, when did that's not come up